Ranchua sat next to my hospital bed and peeled apples for me. She saw my phone ringing next to my pillow and said it to me. I glanced at my phone, but I didn't answer it. At this time, my own heart was very chaotic, and I didn't know how I would face her in the future. After all, she has really been with Qian Feigong, and she has had many physical relationships with Qian Feigong. If I am with her again, it will be as Qian Feigong said at the beginning, I am picking up the torn clothes he doesn't want to wear. I don't want to do this. Especially as soon as I think of that video in the scene where she and Qian Feigong were in the hotel bed, I can't wait to rush over and kill that scumbag Qian Feigong immediately. But am I really going to stop contacting her for the rest of my life? I don't know about that. And what I can't tolerate the most is that Musia lied to me in the first place. Now I don't know what I'm going to do. Drove the car to the community where I lived, and Shin Ranchua helped me upstairs and went back to my house. I lay on the couch and pulled out a cigarette and smoked it depressedly. At this time, Musia called me again. Looking at the 3 words on it, I hesitated for a moment and put the phone directly on the table. Didn't pick up, and didn't hang up. Zhang Yuan, you tell me what that person showed you that night, so that you didn't even answer Sia's phone. Shin Ranchua stood on the side and asked me. I gulped down my cigarette, and I was so irritable that I didn't answer her. Say, what did that person show you? Shin Ranchua asked me again. I threw the cigarette butt to the ground, and then said to her in great pain, Musia and Qian Feigong have been together before, and they have had many physical relationships. The guy who showed me the video of them having sex in the hotel. After screaming hoarsely, I felt like I had been deprived of all my strength, and I lay on the couch weakly, with a painful face. Shin Ranchua frowned beside her, and she said to me a little angrily, Zhang Yuan, are you still a man? Who hasn't passed yet? Do you like Sia as a person, or do you like her body? I'm also convinced, you still mind these things as a big man. If you like women who don't have a past, then I think you should go to elementary and junior high schools to find them. That kind of little girl has no past. I used to think that you really like Sia, but I didn't expect you to be like other bad men. You just think she is beautiful and likes her face and body. You've really disappointed me. Looking at Shin Ranchua with a disappointed face, I also sighed helplessly. If that were the case, maybe I'd feel better. After all, everyone has their own past. But you don't know. I asked her before if she had been with Qian Feigong, and she told me if she had not. It's just that Qian Feigong slandered her in front of others. So the last thing I can tolerate is that she lied to me, you know? I said to Shin Ranchua with some anger. Shin Ranchua looked at me like an idiot. You are stupid. Who are you? You are not her boyfriend. Why should she tell you about her past? It is not a glorious history. And she just wants to make a good impression on you. If I were her, I'd say the same thing. It's normal for a woman. Zhang Yuan, whether she was with Qian Feigong before or not, now she and Qian Feigong are over. If you really like her, then you don't mind her past. Because that would only hurt her even more, make her even more sad. It seems that what she said makes sense. If you love someone, don't care about her past. After all, you love her person, not her body. Besides, there are more women with stories in this society, and there is no fuss about it. I've met people in the past who are obviously not virgins, but they still want to find a girlfriend who is virgins. In my heart, I'm not such a person. I don't ask her to be a virgin, and I don't ask her to have no history. All I know is that if she's with me, then she's my girlfriend, and then I'll love her and love her well, and that's all that's enough. I exhaled, lit another cigarette on my mouth and smoked, nodded, and said to Shin Ranchua, what you said makes sense. I was too impulsive before. She gave me a blank look. Then why don't you call Sia soon? You'd better quickly find a reason to explain to her, or she'll be angry with you. Yes, call Sia. I hurriedly threw the cigarette butt into the ashtray, and then hurriedly picked up my phone and called the dozen or so missed calls on it. But as soon as she dialed over, she answered the phone, and then asked me with great concern, Hey, Zhang Yuan, is something wrong with you? Why didn't you answer after I called you so much? Hearing her care about me, my heart warmed. I had a little car accident and injured my leg, nothing serious. I said to her honestly. But I didn't say anything about the video. Why are you so careless? Where are you now? I'll come to see you as soon as I get off work. When she heard that I had been in a car accident, she said to me very worriedly. I said, "It's okay, you don't have to come and see me. It's just that I have to cultivate for a few days, and it is estimated that it will take a few days for me to come and pick you up from work." After chatting a few words, I happily hung up the phone with Musia. Oh, man, they're all such. Some people were still struggling with her past, but now she laughs like this with a phone call. "You're so fucking cheap." Jean Ranchua sat next to me and nibbled on an apple, and said with contempt for me. I hurriedly put away my smile, put down my phone and looked at her and said, "You helped me this time. I will tell my uncle about your father's loan, and ask him to give your father some time." As soon as I finished speaking, Jean Ranchua looked at me excitedly. "Zhang Yuan, you are really interesting. Jean Ranchua has made a friend of yours." Seeing her like this, I was also quite helpless. In fact, Jean Ranchua's nature is not bad. She is used to being open-mouthed, she often speaks with no brains, and sometimes she speaks very hurtfully. But she is really good, even if she is cheap, she doesn't have any bad intentions. That's right, Zhang Yuan. What are your plans for Chen Feigang? Jean Ranchua asked me again as she nibbled on an apple. What can you do? Of course, I'll clean him up when my leg is healed. This time the matter will definitely not be settled like this. If he dares to reach out to me, then I will break his hand. For Chen Feigang's idiot, I will definitely not let him go. I want him to know that if he dares to provoke me, then I will dare to mess with him, and he won't be able to get up. Originally, he came to provoke me this time, and if I didn't fight back, then I would be too distempered. Even if something happens in the end, I have Uncle Hua behind me to support me, and I naturally can't be afraid of him. Jean Ranchua obviously felt that I was bragging. Don't brag, okay, you're just a little driver. What are you doing with his powerful young master? Just rely on your mouth. And his father used to be mixed with society. If you dare to do it against Chen Feigang, then I dare to guarantee that his rich father will not let you go easily. A grim smile appeared on my face, thinking that even his father's money millions were cleaned up by Uncle Hua, and his father Chen Million dared to come to me for trouble? Unless he didn't want to live. However, Jean Ranchua didn't know about this, and I naturally didn't plan to tell her. Anyway, she thinks I can't do it. We'll just have to see the results in the end. Okay, I've promised to help you, shouldn't you go back too? I said to Jean Ranchua. Jean Ranchua glanced at me. You are all disabled now, you eat when I leave. After she finished speaking, she walked out of the kitchen, and then she walked out of it with a gloomy face. I'll go. Zhang Yuan, your house is a rat and you have to move with tears when you come. Why is there nothing in your refrigerator? Well, she didn't say I forgot. I was going to buy something to eat today and put it in the fridge. But it didn't come in time. Looking at Jean Ranchua, who had a gloomy face, I said to her a little embarrassed, I don't usually cook at home, so I didn't buy anything. Jean Ranchua looked at me for a while, then she gave me a thumbs up and said, Awesome, you're so awesome. She was about to head outside. Are you going home? I asked her hurriedly. She turned her head and said to me angrily, Go home and fart. My mother will go buy some rice and vegetables and come back, otherwise you will drink the northwest wind. No, sister, do you know how to cook? I looked at her with some suspicion. Her eyes were about to burst into flames. Do you think everyone is like you? A big man can't cook, and he doesn't buy anything, and any woman who follows you is really moldy for 8 lifetimes. With that, she walked out without looking back. When she returned, she came in from the outside with a lot of bags in her hands. I'll go, sister, you've bought up the whole market, haven't you? I said, looking at her in surprise. She glared at me, if you eat white food and don't help, don't speak, otherwise the eldest lady won't serve you. Okay, you're a sister now, I won't mess with you. It's not bad to be taken care of anyway, and she's a big beauty. I have to say that Jean Ranchua's cooking skills are really good. She made a table of dishes, and the taste is okay. I recuperated for a total of 8 days, and halfway through Musia called me to ask for my home address and said that she wanted to come to see me, but I made excuses to shirk it. I didn't want her to worry, and I didn't want her to know about me and Chen Feigang. Uncle Hua also called me and asked me if I was sick and why I didn't go to his house for dinner or to the company. I said I had a cold recently and was not feeling well, so I was resting at home. I definitely didn't dare to tell him that I had a car accident on the way to Qian Fei Gong on the way to find Qian Fei Gong to settle accounts because of the video Qian Fei Gong gave. Otherwise, with Uncle Hua's love for me, he would definitely kill Qian Fei Gong's house and become that idiot. Uncle Hua heard that I was not feeling well, so he asked me to take care of my body at home, and when I got better, I could go to the company. Hearing Uncle Hua's concern for me on the phone, my heart is really warm. After all, Uncle Hua really cares about me. And Qin Ranxue has been taking care of me for the past 8 days. She vacated an empty room and moved in directly, and usually cooked for me and cleaned the house. To be honest, I didn't expect a lady like her to clean the house. I asked her why she did this, and she said she didn't want me to starve here, and because I helped her family, she appreciated that I wanted to do something for me. Slacker, it's time to eat. Qin Ranxue made another table of dishes, and she took off her apron and was about to come over to help me. I stopped her and slowly stood up on my own. I stretched my leg and found that the wound was no longer painful and my leg was able to move flexibly. Qin Ranxue looked at me with joy on the side. I lay on the ground and did dozens of push-ups, and found that my legs were completely fine. Let's go, eat. After eating, I will go to Qian Fei Gong for revenge. After I finished happily, I walked over and picked up a bowl of rice and ate it in a big gulp. But Qin Ranxue looked worried. She looked at me and said, "Zhang Yuan, I think you should ask the boss of the last KTV for help. Otherwise, you won't be able to fight for money. A young master like him will kill you with a finger." I know what Qin Ranxue is going to say. Uncle Chow can indeed easily spend money on steel, and he is usually quite good to me. But if I tell Uncle Chow about this, then he will tell Uncle Hua after all. And once Uncle Hua knows, then he will help me clean up the money and steal after all, and then this matter will be complicated. I don't want to make this complicated, and I can't ask Uncle Hua to help me every time. I have to learn to solve some problems on my own. After all, Uncle Hua can't protect me for the rest of my life. The road ahead is still up to me. No, I don't. You can also go home after eating, and I'll just go to find that idiot like Qian Fei Gong by myself, I said to Qin Ranxue as I gulped down. Qin Ranxue saw that she couldn't persuade me, so she also picked up the chopsticks and took a small bite to eat. I poured 2 glasses of red wine into the 2 goblets, but before I could clink glasses with Qin Ranxue, the doorbell rang at my house. Who will come to my house at this time? Is it Uncle Hua? After all, only Uncle Hua knows that I live here. Qin Ranxue's eyes motioned to me if she wanted her to hide first. I shook my head and gestured to her until I went over and saw who was coming outside. I got up and walked over to look inside the cat's eye, and when I saw the person clearly, I immediately had a surprised look on my face. I wondered how she found me here. I hurriedly went back and whispered to Qin Ranxue that Musia was here, and asked her to quickly find a place to hide. Her face immediately panicked, and she hurriedly hid in her room. After seeing that she was hiding, I hurriedly calmed down and went over to open the door for her with a flat face. "Sia, why are you here?" I smiled and asked Musia, who was standing in the doorway. Musia looked at me, and she said to me a little embarrassed, "I was really worried about you, so I went to China Resources to find your boss and asked for your address, and then came over to see how you were. Aren't you going to invite me in and sit down?" "Why, come in." I hurriedly introduced Musia into the house. "Sia, I usually live alone here, and the house may be a little messy, don't mind." Musia walked in, sighed and said, "You men, you just don't like to be clean." But she walked into the house, looked around, and said to me, "Zhang Yuan, your house is very clean. And there is also a faint feminine scent." "Woman scent?" "I'll go, Qin Ranxue, if you spray a little less perfume, you're going to die. I'm the only one here, and I don't wear perfume. How could there be a perfume smell in my house? You must have smelled wrong." I tried my best to cover it up, but I was about to scold Qin Ranxue to death in my heart. "Zhang Yuan, you said you live alone, so what is?" Musia pointed to the 2 pairs of chopsticks on the table, looked at me and asked. Qin Ranxue and I were having dinner just now, and I haven't had time to clean up this bowl of chopsticks. My uncle said he was coming over for dinner, so I prepared a pair of chopsticks for him. The cold sweat on my back came out, and the feeling of lying was really scary. Musia glanced at me, and she raised her hand to pick up the goblet on the table that contained half a glass of red wine, and there was a red lip print on the side of the goblet. Chin Ranchua, I am inseparable from you. Will you die if you use a little less lipstick? Zhang Yuan, if you have a girlfriend, then you must tell me. After all, we are good friends and I will bless you. Mu Xia said to me with a sad expression. Seeing her like this, I immediately explained, Xia, I swear, I really didn't have a girlfriend, you must believe me. Mu Xia stared at me, and then said to me, Zhang Yuan, this is the first time I've come to your house, can you show me around? Why did she suddenly visit me? However, it was her first time to visit my house, so it was not surprising that she suddenly asked to visit. I took her to my room, looking at the quilt that had not been folded up in the room and the clothes thrown all over the floor. I said to her a little embarrassed, well, it's a little messy, don't you mind? Mu Xia shook her head helplessly, you men, you are always so sloppy. As she spoke, she walked over and bent down to pick up the clothes I had thrown on the floor, and when she picked up the smelly pair of socks I had worn on the floor, I immediately felt a little embarrassed. But she just sniffled and didn't say anything. She folded the clothes and put them on the table, and then put the stinky socks on the folded clothes. She put it neatly away, turned around, and began to fold the quilt for me. Looking at Mu Xia's back, I couldn't help but wonder why Qin Fei Gong would give up on a good girl like her. Maybe for a person like Qin Fei Gong, a woman is just a dispensable dress for him. He wears enough and throws it away, and he won't cherish it at all. How I think it wasn't Qin Fei Gong who was with Mu Xia at the beginning, but me. Because I will cherish her very much and love her. But the past will never look back. And all we can decide is the future. Once she had cleaned up my bed, she took my dirty clothes out and put them in the bathroom laundry room. She walked out and pointed to another room and asked me, Zhang Yuan, is this room occupied? I shook my head, I'm the only one living here, and this room is always empty. She didn't speak, she went over and opened the door, looked at the mess of quilts and lace underwear on the bed, and turned to look at me. At this time, I want to kill Qin Ranchue. Mu Xia's face was a little sad. She walked in and looked around, and then directly opened the wardrobe. At this time, Qin Ranchue, who was hiding inside, fell out directly. Ranchue, how could it be you? Mu Xia looked at Qin Ranchue in surprise, and immediately asked her angrily. Xia, listen to me, this is not what you think. Qin Ranchue immediately got up, took Mu Xia's hand with an anxious face, and hurriedly wanted to explain. Camusia shook her hand away angrily, and then glared at us with tears and anger. You really can. There is no need to explain, just when Mu Xia met two dogs, I have nothing to do with you in the future, I wish you happiness. With that, she ran outside in tears. Qin Ranchue looked anxious and was about to chase her, but I grabbed her hand with a serious expression. Zhang Yuan, why are you catching me? Let's hurry up and chase it. She hurriedly said to me. I shook my head, there's no need to chase it, I'm going to get money in Fei Gong that dog day soon, and when I come back after that dog day, it's too late to explain it to her. I don't want Mu Xia to worry about me, so I'd rather let her misunderstand than let her worry about me. And with her character, if she knew that I was going to take revenge on Qin Fei Gong, she would definitely stop me. So it's better not to let her know. But Zhang Yuan, have you ever thought that if you don't explain it clearly to Xia now, she will be very sad? Qin Ranchue said with a worried look on her face. I looked at her and said, I'd rather her heart hurt than her body and mind. Okay, go back quickly, I'm going to take revenge on Qin Fei Gong's idiot. For Qin Fei Gong, Lao Tzu will definitely not let him go this time. Since Lao Tzu didn't let him remember it for a long time last time, then this time Lao Tzu impressed him. It's still the same sentence, you dare to make me feel bad, and I won't let you live a stable life. Come on, we're hurting each other. I went downstairs and got into the car, lit the fire and prepared to drive out to find that fool Qin Fei Gong. But before the car drove out of the community, Qin Ranchue opened the co-pilot's door and sat up. What are you doing here? I asked her. Qin Ranchue glanced at me. Do you know where Qin Fei Gong lives? Well, I really don't know about this. You know? I immediately looked at Qin Ranchue and asked. Qin Ranchue snorted at me with a smug face. But also, after all, Qin Ranchue is also a person in Qin Fei Gong's circle, and it is not unusual for her to know where Qian Fei Gong lives. I didn't say anything. I drove Qin Ranxue outside in the car. Actually, I didn't want to take her there, because she was a girl's family, and it would be good if she didn't do me a favor. But as soon as the car drove out of the community, we saw Musia standing at the entrance of the community. She watched us come out in the car together, and her pretty face immediately became even more sad. She's probably here waiting for me to come out and explain to her. But instead of coming out to chase her, I drove with Qin Ranxue and prepared to go out. She may be very painful at this time. Sia, you wait for us to come back to you. We'll explain to you when the time comes, things really aren't what you think. Qin Ranxue stretched out her head and shouted at Musia. My heart is also very painful at this time. She is my favorite woman, and I am very reluctant to hurt her so much. I kept shouting in my heart, Sia, you must wait for me. When I clean up that fool of Qian Fei Gong, I will definitely come back and explain it to you. Under Qin Ranxue's guidance, I drove to the outside of the community where Qian Fei Gong lived. Qian Fei Gong lives in a luxurious community, and the price is very high. I found a place and parked the car. Zhang Yuan, you don't plan to wait here for Qian Fei Gong to come out, right? Qin Ranxue hurriedly asked me. I nodded. I'm going to wait here for him to come out. Then what if he doesn't come out? Qin Ranxue asked again. I said with a gloomy face, if he doesn't come out for a day, I'll wait for him here for a day, and if he doesn't come out for 2 days, I'll wait for him here for 2 days, anyway, I'll wait until he comes out. Qin Ranxue stared at me, then gave me a thumbs up, awesome. I sat in the car, smoking a cigarette and staring at the gate of the neighborhood where Qian Fei Gong lived. I don't believe that Qian Fei Gong, that idiot, will stay at home and never come out. As long as he dares to come out, then Lao Tzu will dare to clean him up. We waited in the car for 7 or 8 hours and didn't see Qian Fei Gong's fool come out. Qin Ranxue slept in the passenger seat, and it was completely dark outside. She rubbed her eyes and glanced at the community, then said to me, Zhang Yuan, it's not a way for us to wait like this. What if he doesn't come out tonight? I glanced at Qin Ranxue. If you can't stand it, you can go back first, I'll just wait here alone. Qin Ranxue immediately rolled her eyes at me. Humph, I, Qin Ranxue, am such an unrighteous person. Since you're going to wait, I'll be with you. But as soon as she finished speaking, there was a gurgling sound in her stomach. She looked at me embarrassedly. I'm too hungry to hold back. Zhang Yuan, why don't I get out of the car and buy something to eat? I thought about it for a moment and nodded immediately. I'm hungry too, after all, we haven't eaten much at noon. But before Qin Ranxue got out of the car, Qian Fei Gong's fool walked out of the community with a white Samoyed. And the bastard from before was also following him closely, more closely than the Samoyed he was leading. I'll go, this Money Fei gang is a fucking stupid. He won't come out early, he won't come out late, but he will come out when the old lady is ready to go out to buy food. However, Zhang Yuan, the bastard from before also followed him, and you are not his opponent. Qin Ranxue scolded and looked at me with a worried face after speaking. I nodded. That bastard was so powerful, I couldn't beat him alone. Let's go up and have a look. I don't believe he will always follow Qian Fei Gong. After I finished speaking to Qin Ranxue, I pulled out a baseball bat from under my seat, which I had prepared to defend myself before. Qin Ranxue hurriedly followed me in her high heels. Qian Fei Gong, that idiot, took the 2 dogs beside him and went to a food stall in front. They ordered a lot of barbecue, but Qian Fei Gong didn't eat it, but threw the lamb skewers on the ground to feed his Samoyed. The bastard sat across from Qian Fei Gong, bare-chested, drinking beer. Qin Ranxue looked at the lamb skewer that Samoyed was licking on the ground, and she also stretched out her tongue and kept licking her lips. You're not trying to steal food from that dog?